Okay, today's topic is something that pops up every once in a while, and it's a surprisingly difficult question sometimes to answer. Am I buying a sofa that's actually leather? If you're shopping for a leather sofa, you of course want to be actually purchasing true leather, and there are some companies out there that make that a little bit harder than you might think. Occasionally, we'll have someone come to us and say, hey, I bought this leather sofa a while back, and it's doing this and this and this. And as they explain what's happening to leather, it becomes clear that what they have is not actually leather. It's some sort of synthetic leather or some sort of reconstituted, bonded, or recycled leather. So if you are spending real money on a piece of furniture and want to make sure that what you're getting is actually leather, here's some things you want to look for. The first thing is any references to vinyl or polyurethane leather or PU leather. Obviously, that's going to be a faux synthetic leather. Companies can be a little cagey about this because they will often do something called color matching. So the seating surfaces, the touch surfaces, the tops of the armrests, the tops of the seat cushions, the backrests, things like that, that you're actually going to be touching will be leather, and then they will do what's called a color match vinyl or poly on the other surfaces, the back of the sofa, the outsides of the arms, areas like that. That is cheating. If you're given the impression that what you're buying is a leather sofa and you're not getting an entirely upholstered leather sofa, I think that's deceptive practices. There are a lot of companies that do this, including brands that really are incorrectly regarded as more premium brands. So you have to be careful and you have to really read the fine print. You can sometimes tell just by touching it, looking closely at it. It might be obvious. Another thing that you can do, and it may or may not be helpful, but another thing you can do is like open up the seat cushion covers, unzip them, look inside. If the material has any sort of fabric backing or is plasticky or anything, rather than like a kind of a suede feel, it's probably not actually leather. There's a few products that have been out on the market. They've kind of faded away, but they still pop up every once in a while, occasionally called bonded leather, or they've sort of rebranded it as recycled leather. And what that is, it's technically leather in the way that like Arby's roast beef is technically beef, but not really. What they do is they take scrap leather. They'll buy scrap leather from companies like us that have, leftover scrap as we're cutting pieces. They grind those leather hide remnants down, turn it into sort of a kind of like a pebbly sort of pasty type thing, mix it with a whole bunch of adhesives and dye, and then spread it on a fabric backing. It's, for whatever reason, it's allowed to be marketed as a leather product. I think that is real sketchy. But the problems with it, I mean, obviously, first of all, it's not the actual thing. The problem with it is that it degrades pretty badly. So as it gets exposed to sunlight or heat or wear over time, it will start to crack and peel and flake. And these are things that really most leathers are not actually going to do. So you definitely want to make sure you're doing a little bit of research to avoid that. This is not something you're going to be finding with, obviously higher end companies, but again, some pretty big catalog brands that really present themselves as being luxury will do this once in a while. So you got to check to be sure.